Welcome to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. I'm Rick Ripma, your hardworking mortgage guy, and I've been in real estate and mortgages for over 34 years. My team and I believe in custom tailored loans, not the one-size-fits-all approach. We believe there is a right mortgage for you, and we believe we are the team to deliver it.
And I'm Ian Arnold, part of Rick's hard-working mortgage team. I've been in the financial industry for 15 years, helping customers rebuild their credit or even just gain credit now. I have a passion in helping you secure your overall real estate dreams, and hopefully, if you're anything like me, pay your home off even faster.
And for the latest information on Indy's real estate market or mortgages, please go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. You can look up in my information there, or you can give us a call at 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And today we have a phenomenal real estate agent on, Sean Daniels with Daniels Real Estate. Thanks for joining us, Sean. We appreciate it.
No, Rick and Ian, thanks for having me on your show. I really appreciate you thinking of me for this.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're one of the famous agents. I mean, you've been on TV and everything. I mean, you're like a big shot.
Oh, I'm just a dressed up hillbilly. I don't know. I don't know about that, but I am thankful for making it the top 100 out of 12,000 agents in 6 years or less. That's
fantastic.
I got nothing but my clients to thank for that, and without them, Dan's Real Estate and myself, I wouldn't be doing what I love doing right now.
Right. Well, you do a phenomenal job. I kind of investigate everybody before they come on. I look at your reviews. Phenomenal. I mean, Google reviews. Well, you have
141 right now.
141.
Yeah.
Positive Google.
Positive. I've got one person. One person gave me a bad one, but
I think you have to have.
You got to have that.
Otherwise, it's not true.
Yeah, it's right. That's right. I'm just thankful that people take the time to do that, because Google reviews are huge. If you're an agent, any business you're in, you should be pushing those. You want people to give you feedback. One, you can improve if you're not doing something right, and two, if somebody's moved from out of state or just local, who doesn't look at reviews these days?
Right.
So I do have to ask, when that person gave you a bad review, did you call them and say, "Hey, thank you for giving me a bad review"?
No.
Now I look human.
The really sad part about that review is it was 14 months after they closed on the house. And we were in Florida with our family, our whole family, because my brother's wife had passed away from cancer. And we were spreading her ashes. And I don't ever post anything real negative or public, that public on Facebook. So I don't know if it triggered them because they were still on my Facebook and they just, things weren't going right with their house. And I instantly called them and messaged them and couldn't really get through to them. They did message me back and just said that, they weren't happy with the house, and the water heater went out, and the floor was outdated, and the back deck was rotten, which I had no control over. Right, it was more
a real estate.
It was just buyer's remorse, in my opinion. And unfortunately, they felt that 14 months after buying the house that they picked out and they got their inspection, that was the time to give me a bad review.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I still called them to try and learn from it and see what more I could do, and couldn't get them to talk to me on the phone. It really wasn't a way for me to help, fix something that even sometimes when you're right, you're wrong, right? So it is what it is. You move forward from those situations and you learn from it. But the only little response I get from that when people see it is, who is this person?
Yeah.
Like, Sean is awesome, right? Yeah. But no, it's, that's what this world and this life's all about, is learning.
Yeah. I really don't like reviews. And the reason I don't like them, I look at like the overview. So I look at, okay, this person has, you're probably what, 4.99 out of a 5. So
yeah,
that's what I look at. I don't, because my belief is I don't really know what you do.
Yeah.
Right. I don't, if I go and I do something, I don't really know what that person does. And I'm judging them like that person. They judged you on something that had nothing to do with you. That wasn't a real estate. That's not real estate.
No. I secured the house. They closed on it.
You did your job.
I advised them to get an inspection. They got an inspection. These were things out of my control.
Right.
I don't hate them. Some people, that's just how they cope with the decisions they make. And, it is what it is,
Yeah.
And I've got just so many more people out there that are Daniels Real Estate fans,
right,
that have taken the time to fill these reviews out and referred my business out, because I don't pay for leads. All my business is word of mouth, Facebook, and those are people I want to work with.
Right.
You know, I want to work with warm people who have been referred to positive influences in my life,
Right.
or if I've been a positive influence in their life,
Right.
by helping them secure a home, sell a home, you know, those kind of things,
Yeah.
or just mentoring. You know, I've had some an agent that wasn't an agent yet, you know, call me up, say, hey, you know, I'd like to become a real estate agent. My last real estate agent that helped me buy my last 2 houses just said great when I messaged them about it. And I learned that after I met with them.
Okay.
And I said, yeah, this is what you got to do to be an agent. And between the time that person became an agent, I sold both their daughters' houses.
Wow.
You know, and now that person's doing really great. They're a successful agent. And I'm happy for them.
Awesome.
You know, but
Yeah.
it's all about growing people. And,
Yeah.
you know, you can't take that one bad review or that one bad experience and let it ruin
No.
all the other experiences that you're able
Right.
to have out there.
I always feel bad for them because there
Yeah.
must be something going on in
There's-
their
yeah.
life that
Definitely.
makes that happen.
I agree.
But let's get to before real estate.
Oh, yeah.
What was your journey like before real estate? Where'd you start? You know, where'd you grow up? That kind of thing. You know, school, those really fun things we love to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up on the east side of Indianapolis, Cumberland. We started in Warren Township. I used to walk to Heather Hills Elementary.
Oh, wow.
You know, like, you know, first
You
grade,
walked
second grade.
uphill
We
both
literally
ways?
walked. Absolutely. We had a crossing guard and everything. My parents around 2000, not 2000, but around second grade, 94, I'd say, or sometime around that. Actually before 94, I'm sorry. But we ended up moving to Cumberland. We went to Mount Vernon after that. My
Okay.
brother and I. My brother's 5 years older than me. I played football for Warren Tomahawks until I couldn't play there anymore, which is a traveling team. And then played football for Mount Vernon. Amazing people I met going to that school. The classrooms are a little smaller than what I was going to before, and my personality that helped out because teachers had more time that really talked to me and helped me through some of the lessons I wasn't understanding. And I got honor roll for the first time.
Wow.
You know, third grade when we first moved there, when before I was a DF student. So I got a huge place in my heart for teachers who take that time. But fast forward, you know, I go to graduate. I'm working at Discount Tire. They make me an assistant manager. I'm going to night school, doing my electives to go to Kelly School of Business, get into some business classes with Kelly, leave Discount Tire, go work at a dealership in the service department at the age of 20.
Okay.
You know, so I went from making about 22 grand to moving to a service writer position, which is fully commission. You know, when you pull your car in and you got an oil change or check engine light on, those people are typically set up commission. And the first 3 months, I won a trip on Howard Hugler's yacht.
Oh, wow.
You know, I'm like 20 years old, and they're like, you can bring a spouse with you. So I brought a good buddy of mine, and there was like 2 other technicians in one, and we floated out and did that. That was fun. But I believe my customer service training I got from Discount Tire and my boss, Kenny Boyson at the time, mentor, really helped me understand what it's truly like to be a servant to your clients. And that's the aspect I brought to that world. And I went from making 22 to 55 grand. By the time I was 23, I was building my first house. I had 3 roommates move in with me, paying $400 a piece. Kind of the slumlord of the neighborhood, right? Built a nice Ryland home. Still in it to the day, and you know, I was making more money at that point, and I got to that career where I was in it for about 20 years, and I got to a point to where I was just kind of stagnant. I wasn't challenged that much anymore. I still enjoyed the clientele aspect, the internal clientele aspect, you know, our technicians, my management, if I wasn't managing at the time, my fellow service consultants, and that's really also helped me get to where I'm at now. You know, I started going and doing my real estate classes, got my 90 hours taken care of, completed my test. I'll tell myself right now, so I passed the state the second time, 10 times I passed the other part. 10 times. So I procrastinated for a whole year when I did my 90 hours.
Wow.
So a lot of that's my fault. I might have man cried in my car the 6th time I felt it. No lie. Like, I'm so bad. I'm like, but I had this great support group. You know, I wasn't really airing this online that I was doing this test because when you fail and you fail and you fail, and I was failing by like 1 or 2 points. And the bad thing about the test is that you don't know what you're failing because they don't tell you what you got right and wrong. So, you know, some of the stuff's tricky in there. You might have 4 right answers. You got to pick the best one. But I didn't give up, and I graduated from that, and I got my license. I went to a small boutique brokerage. I had an amazing mentor there that was helping me out. And I knew at that point, I had to get away from the dealership world because I needed something more, I don't know the word I'm trying to say, more conducive with being able to travel and talk on the phone instead of being like in front of people all day. So I left and went to a commercial air compressor company that engineered compressors for large manufacturing facilities to small manufacturing facilities. That was a fun job. And I told my wife, like, I don't care if I make half the money now. I just want to challenge myself, do something else. If real estate takes off, great. In my first 4 months, having my license, I sold 9 houses.
Wow.
My second, while I was still working full time, my full-time job, 9 houses. My second year, 17 houses, still working full time. My third year, 44 houses, while still working full time. My fourth year, 83 houses, while still working full time. No transaction coordinator. I'm doing all the work.
And working full time.
So we were paying everything off. My wife's an amazing nurse. She works for the VA downtown. So we had her income, my main job income, and my second main job income, right? So we had 3 jobs. We're paying off the cars, paid off any credit card debt we had, which we had minimal, paid off the house, her tuition. We got debt free. And I said, all right, it's time. And I left the other job, sold 71 houses the next year. And still, I was 23 million the year before that. I did 21 million the year after that. And I was gaining more traction with higher end homes, which I'm not all about higher end homes. I'm all about selling my Aunt Pearl's house for $69,000 in Clinton, Indiana, which I did. I don't care, how expensive the home is. I treat them all the same way. I started my own brokerage after that and branched out. Left the brokerage I was at, and my motto still is I don't recruit. I don't have shiny things. I want people to come to Daniels Real Estate because they believe in the energy that we have to bring to them and the mentorship that we're going to help to elevate their capacity. I recently had an agent that lost a listing to me that ended up joining Daniels Real Estate because the person she lost to listen to was family, and she was a little newer. Why I say newer? She was at a brokerage for a year. And in that brokerage, she was showing houses and doing this and doing that all for them, and she wasn't getting paid at all. She'd go show a house, they wouldn't pay her nothing.
Oh, no.
And I didn't learn this till after the fact. And I won't say the name of the brokerage, but I was like, man, wow, this young 20-some-year-old girl. And she comes on with Daniels Real Estate. I say, hey, this is how I do my social media. She also is into the rescue shelters. She volunteers her time. I go, use that. I go, you'll help elevate the rescue shelter along with elevating yourself, because that takes a really, thankless person.
Yes.
Somebody just doing it because they want to do it, because they want to help these animals out. And within 2 months, I get a text. She says, Sean, I'm so glad that I came to Daniels Real Estate. The last brokerage was at, I just wasn't for me, and I was at the point to where I was ready to quit real estate. And now I have 3 people looking. I've got 1 under contract. And it made my day.
That's awesome.
Because I don't ask for recognition.
Right.
I don't. But when I get it, I'm like, wow. Because you don't know if what you're doing is working.
Right.
You know what's working for you, but it might not work for the other person.
Right.
So the American Dream TV that you mentioned earlier, I got picked out of 40 some agents, and I go and interview for this, and I watch. They break us 10 different classes. 10 different people per interview, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking over. I'm like, that's Biff Ward. And Biff Ward, to me, I don't know her personally. I just know of her.
Everybody
what
knows
she's
of her.
What she's accomplished. And I'm like, wow, that's. And there was a couple other agents in there I recognized, and I'm sitting here, been doing this 5-6 years at the time, and just knocking it out of the ballpark, in my opinion, for what I'm doing at my level and my years in the business. And I'm like, this is the real deal. And I ended up moving forward with it. They brought me on. They brought 10 to 11 agents on that program. And, we aired a few different episodes. Now Daniels Real Estate's kind of opened up their own to where we're not using them anymore. We're doing our own production. But it's just awesome to be picked and sit there and see somebody legendary like Biff Ward. I was starstruck a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there thinking, I've made it. I've made it to this. But, again, no matter how high you go, you got to venture back down, right?
Yeah.
Nothing grows at the top of the mountain. We all heard that, I hope. And you got to venture back down where everything grows and keep growing.
Yeah.
And just keep going back and forth. So, yeah, I mean, I've talked a lot. I don't know if you guys got some more questions at this point. I'm sure I could just keep talking.
Well, here, let's do this because I know you like to talk.
Yeah.
And I want somebody to talk to you.
Yeah.
So how would they get in touch with you? They're looking to buy or sell a home.
Oh, you can call me at 317-371-0060. You can also take a look at my my Facebook Messenger, my email, danielsrealestate.com. We got a really nice website, so you can get a hold of me there. When you do list a house at danielsrealestate.com, at least me individually, I don't charge you for any of the pictures I do. I don't charge you for the videography. The last house before I went on a trip, I redid the video for the house just with the pictures, right? Not a walkthrough. I do walkthrough videos all the time, and we got over 6,000 views on that without boosting it, just from the social media aspect of sharing it online. I got over 5,700 followers right now. And then my agent shared it as well, which we try to share everybody's posts that we can to help elevate that and get it out there so the masses can see it and maybe like, oh, that's what Jim Bob's been looking for, or my aunt's looking for that 2-bedroom house because it's in this area in their budget. You got to get in front of people. So we've done a great job at that. So when you do list with us and you do contact us either at that phone number or my email or messenger, smoke signals, whatever you can do, you're going to get that same level of service whether you're the $69,000 house or the multi-million-dollar house. I think another thing to toot a little bit of my horn, Joiner Homes brought me on to list one of their homes recently. We just got it pending. And that's a pretty known builder in Greenfield. They build some really beautiful custom homes. And I can't thank April there and Mr. Joyner and his family for trusting in me to list their home and represent their company from Daniel's real estate standpoint. And we've got a great working relationship already from it. Yeah. So that was like a bucket list of mine. Like, man, if a builder reached out to me to list one of their builds, I don't know, it was surreal. I was like, wow, like this is cool. And that's the cool thing about this business. It's endless.
Right.
That just like being on your show. I made a video before I came here, just expressing my how appreciative I was of you reaching out to me. You guys thinking that much of me to like get on your show, your brand, and talk. I'll keep talking. Should I keep talking?
Well, hold on. You plugged yourself. Now it's time for us to plug ourselves.
Yeah.
So, Rick, how will they get hold of you or I?
Best way to get a hold of us is hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And thank you for listening to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. The gurus we interview share valuable insights. They reveal their strengths, personalities, and how they'll work for you. While we hardworking mortgage guys secure your best mortgage, real estate gurus work hard too. They avoid problems the amateurs don't see. They listen and they find unrealized opportunities. If you're buying or selling a home, a real estate guru is a valuable asset. If you're even thinking of buying or selling a home, keep listening and definitely call one of Indy's real estate gurus.
All right. So, since I know you can talk real estate all day long, we're going to take a sidestep, see what else you can talk about all day long.
Let's go.
Like this.
So,
let's go. Let's do this.
If I take away your phone, you cannot work for 24 hours. After you get out of the fetal position off the floor, what do we catch you doing for fun?
For fun, we like to camp a lot. We like to boat a lot. I'm about to get back into mountain biking. 20 years ago, I mountain biked a whole lot, so I'm teetering on, setting that time aside to start mountain biking again, because the trails these days, like the parks I used to ride, now they're made for mountain bikes. From there, I mean, I enjoy a good bourbon. Cigars are always tasteful, but really my family. I'm a father of 2. A husband of 1, beautiful wife and 2 beautiful little girls. So, that's my go-to number one fun thing to have experience with is our kids. And I got one that's getting ready to become a senior. Actually, she is a senior this year. Another one just went into 5th grade. It's family's everything to us. Yeah. And man, what else? I don't know. I like to eat a lot.
Wow,
I'm a foodie.
Oh, your bourbon. What's your favorite bourbon?
Oh, the Taylor. Taylor, obviously you can't get the gosh darn thing. And I remember years ago, Woodford was my go-to. And before, like, Taylor was like a big deal. This place it in the liquor store didn't have Woodford, so he said, try this Taylor. I was like $10 more, I think. It's like, cool, and I get it. I was like, man, this is it, and that really that's it right there. The Taylor is my thing. Double Oak Woodford's really good. Blanton's, I never really got a big taste for Blanton's. Bardstown, we just went to do the tour in Bardstown.
Rated.
Bardstown actually makes a bunch of other labeled bourbons that are old recipes that they found and went to the families and said, hey, this recipe, this is yours. Can we start making it? And you'll get royalties for it. And when you go there, they've got, don't quote me on, but 8 or 9. I think Horse Soldier might be one of them. I don't know if Angel Envy is one of them or not, but like there's a bunch of different ones. Like Buffalo Trace makes Taylor. Right. So all these different, bourbon, what do you call them? Brewers, distributors,
or distilleries.
That's it. They make different, different brands out there that you might not know as theirs. But we had a great time. We went with some good friends of ours. Another one of my wife's nurse friends, and her husband's a state cop, 20 years, an amazing gentleman. Just got done salmon fishing with him, and I want to give a shout out to the military. I do a lot with the military. I'm a military relocation specialist. So when they move here, I help them move. So sometimes they like bourbon, and I'll turn them on some good bourbons or some speakeasies out there. There's some amazing speakeasies downtown. There's 2 or 3 within Fountain Square. Most people don't know about. So if you want to do like a speakeasy night, you can pretty much Uber to 2 or 3 and end up downtown, and maybe you might not get the fourth one. It's happened to us once. We went to the Eagle, got some good chicken, and we were gonna go to the fourth one. We're like, yeah, we're done. My wife and I we're going home. We're Ubering home. Yeah. But no, we like just to be outside as much as we can. A lot of times at the house, I've got an awning on the back of our house, and I'll be back there working, or gazebo. I'll be back there working with my fan on, our German Shepherd, and he's my boy because I couldn't make a girl, and I'll just be watching a show and working if I'm not out showing houses.
Yeah, I knew you had a German Shepherd.
Yeah,
because I looked you up online, and what's his name again?
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
Yeah. He's got one ear up. One ear never stood up. And we at a year old, we sent him to the best trainer ever, Melissa McNabb. I actually helped her find a house 2 years ago. And if you have a dog and it's a high energy dog or a working dog, you owe it to yourself and the dog. Get it professionally trained, unless you just have the time to do it. He's 7 going on 8. Best dog we've ever owned. Rest in peace, Lulu and Shelby. Those were good dogs. But he's my boy. He's gone everywhere with me. So many pictures of him and the kids, and we know, with our daughters, if we wanted to go out for a bite to eat, he's there, and he's gonna watch over the house.
Really good protector.
Very territorial dog. Yeah, we don't worry about the boys, the neighborhood coming over. We really don't. Sorry for my kids, but yeah.
No, my parents have collies.
Okay.
And like you were saying, high energetic. They started training them at first, and they were like, "Oh no, we'll hold off." They held off on one. They're like, "We'll never do that again." Because they're so high energetic. If you don't do anything, they just tear everything up.
They don't know what to do with their time.
Right.
They're working dogs.
Yeah.
Shepherds, before we turned them into police dogs and all these other things, they watched over a herd. They were shepherds.
Right.
They were there to protect a herd. And I think Rottweilers are kind of, back in the the sword days or whatever, they'd put their money around their necks, and they'd go from different villages with those dogs. And that way, if somebody tried to rob them, if you kill me, you got to get the money off my dog. That's not going to happen. So it'd be kind of pointless. At least that's what I read about it. I don't know. Dogs were bred.
It's a good story.
It's a good story. But they were bred for purpose, versus companionship. And now it's more companionship. And man, he's my guy. Yeah. That's my boy right there.
I figure he was like your 6th agent.
Oh yeah, he is. He's if I might put him on the signs here eventually. I'm not lying.
So Rick has a famous question he always likes to ask.
Oh boy.
I'm not sure it's famous, but it is my favorite question.
All right.
So what is your superpower or superpowers?
I would say the fact that I treat my clients' houses and their transactions like they're my own. When I help you out, I don't think there's many people out there as sincere as I am when it comes to this. And I feel like that's another reason why I've never had to pay for any kind of leads, because when I work with you directly. I'm not the big broker that you get with me and I hand you off to somebody else. You get with me and I work with you from beginning to end. And just like the close I'm going to at 2:00, their kid bracket. They had this kid, Nate, he's a big fly fisherman. I get to know you for who you are, and your family to me. I mean, one, you're working with me, you're spending money with me. That's family.
Right.
Your enemies won't come around.
Yeah.
So I want to say, like, I treat it more as an individual than I do as a transaction. It's not just the house to me, it's the people.
Right.
And if I treat the people right, and I do a good job explaining everything as we go, and I stay in communication, that's another power. Communication is key to anybody in this business, or any business that if you want to be successful, you can't communicate enough. So text, calls. While I was on that trip over, floating in the ocean, I was available for my clients. I paid for the international package. I still devoted my time to my friends and my family.
Right.
While we're on this trip, because you deserve that. You have to recharge your batteries.
Right.
But at the same point, I'm responsible for what's going on, because those transactions don't stop.
Right.
And most importantly, when if I say I were to get sick or I was on a trip, I always like to pair them with another one of my agents, so they understand, hey, we're not going to miss that dream home if I'm gone.
Right.
And that's something I think some people don't talk about up front, or have trouble finding that person that's reliable, because that's somebody's reliable when you got that going on. And then if they can't do what you do, or something close to what you do, you'll lose that client. They'll go and find a house without you, even if you show them 20 houses.
Right.
And I don't blame them if that happens, because you let them down. They don't want to miss out on the house. That person's not available. You're not available. They're going to, that's exactly what this client did.
Yeah.
That I'm closing with today. Met him a year ago. They were looking for a very niche property. Niche properties are tough to find. My dog trainer was looking for a niche property, right? Somewhere she could train dogs and board them. Those are hard to find. You have to have a patient real estate agent, one that has some knowledge, and one that knows the areas, and looks at Google Maps and like, hey, you probably can't do that. That house is, this close to you, or, you're in a neighborhood, or, HOA, even though it looks like it's not in a neighborhood. Just the knowledge that an experience somebody can bring to the table, along with the communication and being vocal about things, not being afraid to hurt somebody's feelings sometimes if you think maybe their expectations of what they're looking for versus the price may not be in the wheelhouse right now. It's just being honest and open and communicating.
So you brought in roughly your team. Besides Lincoln,
Yeah.
what does your team actually look like?
So right now, we just actually brought on 2 more agents. We've got over 13 agents. Some were somewhat new or just graduated, and passed their license. Some were seasoned. But Matt Guntner, he just moved, but his wife was also a real estate agent. Oh, no, sorry. Excuse me. A little bit of my drink coming back up.
Oh.
His wife works with my wife, or did work with my wife, went to nursing school with my wife. We all became really good friends. Funny thing, when he wanted to be a real estate agent, he's 16 years union, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Amtrak guy.
Wow.
And I'm like, Matt, you ain't talked to people for 16 years. I go, you've worked on trains, like a good mechanic, right? Like a lot of mechanics don't want to mess with people. They just want to work on the cars, make their hours, and leave. Totally get it. We become products of our environment.
Right.
And he goes, no, I can do it. I can do it. And I was like, hey, all right, we're going to do this. You got to pass this 90-hour course. You got to do the 4-hour test. He did that. I go, now read this book, 7 Levels of Communication. 7 Levels of Communication is a great book. It teaches people how to, 1, take care of the client, 2, put yourself out there, without paying and buying leads, and 3, how to help better the community you're in, how to become a part of the community. Because then, if they see you as part of the community and you're giving back, or you're helping volunteer your time, who doesn't want to work with somebody like that, right? You're not selfish. This guy listened to that, probably 6 or 7 times, the whole book, over and over and over. And his first full year, he did $2.3 million.
Wow. Awesome.
$2.3 million and first year.
He was a union worker at Amtrak.
At Amtrak,
Awesome.
And I was so proud of him. And I never coached anybody or trained them on the real estate side. I did it on the service side when it came to managing and service consultants and things like that, and how to talk to people. So I was proud on my end, right? Like, because I'm guiding him to be successful,
Right.
so he can make the money and take care of his clients, most importantly. And it will come the more better you take care of them. And he did it. And the more he posted, the more he got back. And the more he gave, the more he got back. So, from there, I brought on some other agents. One of my top agents right now is Katrina. She used to be an IMPD cop for over 8 or 10 years. Dad retired as a police officer. Husband's on SWAT. She has the tenacity to just outwork almost anybody in this industry. She's amazing, and I love partner with her on different things. And we have some other upcoming agents, right? I can't bring all 13 up. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings by not bringing you up. I think you guys are all amazing, but you'll get what you put into it. And I don't want to be the brokerage of 150 agents, and you look at the numbers and like 5 or 10 of them are doing anything. We just had a really cool training session. And I think at the time I had 11 because I didn't have the other two. The other two did show up at the training session. So I had like 10 out of my 13 agents showed up to this. When I used to be with a bigger brokerage with 150 agents, and like I'd see like 8 people show up.
Right.
I don't want that. I want people who are yearning to learn, yearning to do better. Because if they're not showing up to these and they're not yearning for those things, how well they're going to take care of the clients. Right? Your branding, my branding, that's our name and our reputation.
Exactly.
So, and those conversations can be tough when you got to have them with people, but sometimes Gary V's got to come out. If you guys know who Gary V is or not, he stood up one time, he's talking to this big crowd. He's like, I'm going to tell every one of you how I make my money and what I do. And not one of you is going to do it. How many people have done that? Like, hey, this is how I've been successful. Here's the blueprints.
Oh, yeah.
You can't teach drive. You can't teach will. You can't teach people to get up every day and work. So, and I don't hate people for that. We're not all built to do certain things.
Right.
We're all here for different reasons. So I'm just thankful that, I love what I do.
Yeah.
And since you're here for real estate, how would somebody get a hold of you if they wanted to buy or sell their home?
Oh, at 317-371-0060, danielsrealestate.com. Check me out on Facebook at Sean Daniels. Smoke signals. You can pretty much call or text me any day.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. Or you can give us a call at 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938.
And now we'll get into the question of the week. And the question of the week is sponsored by, Rick and I, the hardworking mortgage guys, where we believe in helping and supporting you and your realtor by sending constant updates to the loan process. We don't like living in a black hole, so we don't allow you to live in a black hole. All right, so here's a good question. What was your first car?
Oh, my first car, 1984 Monte Carlo. My parents bought it brand new in 1984. Obviously, fast forward to I was born in 79, so I got it when I was 16. My brother, for some reason, didn't want this car. Had T-tops. Beautiful car, baby blue, had the chrome on the bottom. Got that car. First thing I did is take it over to Main Street Muffler, had them torch the springs, and I lowered it. I was in the lowriders, man. I had to put some turbo exhaust on the back of it. Things sounded great. Had a 305. Had like the factory tweed blue interior, and man, like then later on I put some cool wheels on it, a little chain link steering wheel. Like I was
You were styling.
I was the shit, right?
All right.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that or not.
So I have to ask, when you pulled up after you lowered it and everything, what did your parents say?
Oh, like my dad, he's always been like not real opinionated, I think, when it comes to some things, but I'm sure he was somewhat disappointed. I mean, I didn't ask permission. And I still got people from high school, not class of 98 Mount Vernon, that they remember me from this car. You know what I mean? Because that car, my old boss Kenny's like, man, it was clean all the time. I'd go hand wash it. I'd polish the wheels. I love that car. I mowed grass before I had a job, and I saved my money from doing that. And I'd go to there was a car drive-in, like a cruise-in by Steak and Shake on Washington Street, and I'd cruise in there every Friday night, listen to Lowrider, little War, had some War playing, and I'd cruise in there, I'd park, and there'd be other Lowrider guys I was friends with, and we'd go cruise Newcastle, which Newcastle at the time was like one of the top places to cruise in the United States.
Oh, really?
You'd sit through lights there. You wouldn't think it, right?
Okay.
You'd sit through lights. It was like one of the top 10. And we'd cruise downtown Indy, the Circle. That car, I had a lot of fun with that car. Kept me out of trouble.
You don't still have it?
I sold it for a down payment on that house.
Oh, okay.
In 2003 when I built that house. Now, the guy who got it from me, he went to high school with me as well. Like he graduated a year behind me, I believe, or 2 years. He got it because at that point I'd raised it back up. I had a stroker motor in it, a 383, had some billet wheels. I went from lowrider to the cruiser, like fast kind of guy. And he blew up the engine, I believe, and it sat in a barn up until 6 or 7 years ago. And I always kept in touch with him. I didn't know where it was. He said he still had it. Well, this car was still like all the interior was gutted out of it and the engine trans, but like the car was still had the wheels. And he said, if you want it, you can have it. And my wife said, no way, there's no room for it. So I sold it to one of my mechanics at the time for like $500. And now his dad's got it somewhere in the barn. I go, dude, if your dad doesn't do anything with that, I'm at the point now where I'd love to have it back and drop it off somewhere and, resto mod it, put like a cool 5.3 in it with today's, where you can, all the computer stuff. But yeah, that was a fun car. I appreciate my parents being able to give it to me, hanging on to all those years. And those cars are a lot more popular now. And then like the first car I actually purchased for myself was a 2-door Tahoe.
Okay.
1996. Of course, I worked at Discount Tires. I put, some cool bigger tires on it. I went from like lowrider guy to four-wheeler, like off-road guy. So
I think we all do stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
As car guys. We just go up and down. It just depends on what it is at the time.
I still love my four-wheel drives, my square body trucks.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think that's a phenomenal car, and you're obviously a car guy.
Oh yeah,
and retro mods is the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah. New steering, AC. The pickup I got now, I got an '82 Silverado 4-wheel drive, and I ended up pulling a 305 out of it, and I couldn't find a 6.0. I tried forever to find a 6.0 drop in. I ended up putting a crate 350 from GM. It had AC and everything on it, but still still carbureted, but it fires right up.
Carbureted?
It's still carbureted.
Really?
Yep. Now it's hard to get a lot of crate motors anymore because all the electric cars that are coming out and things like that. Like GM's not producing a lot of these short or long block or short blocks.
Oh, okay.
So it's getting a little tougher to find those vehicles or those engines if you want to swap them out.
Oh.
But I couldn't find a good donor 6.0. I wanted the resto mod it with a 6.0 transmission. Being four-wheel drive, it's tough because of transfer case. So if it was two-wheel drive, I'd have been good to go.
Yeah, but four-wheel drive's better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, it depends what you like. I like a good lowered stance, like a 68 Cadillac, with headlights on top of each other. I'll take one of those bagged all day long.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful car.
Or Chevelle.
Yeah.
Like those are on my bucket list, if we ever do move out of the first house that we built. But it's nice not having any payments.
But a truck?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, four-wheel drive. Long bed, too.
Oh, is it?
It rides good for a long bed.
Yeah. Well, that's a great vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I
can talk about cars forever.
Yeah.
I want to hear some more stories. So what do you think your greatest memory of a deal was?
Oh, shoot. I got so many of them now. I don't mean that in a bad way or a condescending way. Like, I've done a lot of deals. And I got takeaways from, I think, all of them. But, there's a family right now that we're closing on their house. And they moved from Alaska. And Mom lived in my neighborhood. And, I pretty much, it's during the heyday of, it was like cutthroat out there, right? And we're putting these unrealistic offers in, and we're like getting beat. Like I had one we put in, and they didn't have a deadline. Like we're taking, best offer by this date, right? And I asked the agent, like, all right, you're not doing that, are you? Like, nope. We put this awesome offer in, and then they end up pulling that like a day later.
Oh,
and then we end up getting beat by an agent in their brokerage, and by like dollars.
Oh.
And I'm like, I never would have put that offer in had I known they were going to do that. So there was in like another house was the address was like his wife's birth date, right? Like the actual address was
really?
Like it was a 6-digit or
okay, yeah.
Or, it's like the birth date. We lost that one. Like, and my clients win within like the first or second one because I advise them like, hey, this is what the market's like. These are the kind of offers that we're seeing. I talked to the agent about what we're going to put in. Our plan in the beginning was this. So if we want to win it, we probably got to do this, right? And a lot of agents, they won't tell you what the offer is. But if you say, hey, this is my offer, and does that look like a contender? A lot of them will say, you might want to do better than that, because they do want to get a good offer for their client.
Right.
So they're not being unethical, but it helps me with them. Fast forward, we lock him in on a house, and he runs the Castleton Mall.
Okay.
He's worked for Simons. So he was running a mall in Alaska.
Oh, okay.
So now fast forward 2 years later, after working so hard to get this house, find the house for them. Hey, Sean, I just got a promotion to work in Florida, in Hollywood, Florida, and take over one of those Simon malls. Really? All right, well, we're selling the house now. I sold their rental too. They had a rental here for years, but I ended up, now we're closing on that deal, and I don't even get to close with them this time. But all throughout, looking at all the houses, I miss this part. I'm holding their youngest.
Okay.
This just chunk of a baby, awesome kid, and I got all these pictures with their kid, and now that kid's tall and
you can't hold on to him
anymore. No, you can't hold on anymore. So. There's so many deals that I've been a part of, and that's just one of them. There's a lot of other deals out there that are just so heartwarming, and there's some heart-wrenching ones too, where you lose those houses that there's their dream house, right? And that's what I tell clients when we sit down and have our pre-consult before we start looking at houses. You'll know when you find the right house, because you're going to be like, this is it. My buddy's kid, I just helped them find a house, and the first house we walked into, I was in there 2 minutes. I said, you're not buying this house. And I'm that guy. I'm like, I don't want them to just buy something. And I walked through and showed them why. I had one client, they wanted to buy I might be getting off your topic there.
Right.
They wanted to buy a log cabin house, brand new homeowners, right? And log cabin houses look great, but they're maintenance. And I said, hey, talk to, would you talk to my inspector? I want him to explain what he finds in log cabins, right? Because I'm not an inspector, right?
Right.
But I don't want them to buy something that's going to be a nightmare.
Or that they don't know.
Not that all log cabins are like that.
Right.
I don't want to get sued. But there's maintenance to them, just like anything,
right.
versus a wood deck versus a Trex deck. And they talked to him. They didn't buy it. Later, Grandma's friend ended up wanting to sell her house because she's moving. They ended up getting that house, going through a lawyer, and they sent me a gift card for Cabela's or something. I didn't end up getting a sell out of it, but in my mind, I still won because I gave them the proper advice to not buy a home that I felt like a first-time home buyer would regret, like Victorian homes. My buddy's kid was moving to Crawfordsville. He's a sheriff there, and the first house he sends me is this beautiful Victorian home, but beautifully original. And I go, dude, there's 30 windows in this house that are not going to be efficient for you. The heating alone and heating this house is going to be pretty absorbent. Have you thought about these things? If you really want to buy the house, great, or you want to go look at it. He goes, no, I didn't think about that. I go, okay. I go, well, we probably shouldn't look at older houses like that. I go, they're beautiful. I think when they're fixed up right, they are very efficient. But for a first-time home buyer with limited funds, I do my best to consult them on buying the proper house that's going to not, and I can't predict the water heater's going to go out or your deck's rotten or your flooring's outdated, but I can do my best in consulting you before you even look at the house, just from my experience of what I see. If I'm walking around a house and all the soffits are rotted out, I'm pointing that stuff out. One of my old coworkers bought a house out towards Greenfield, and he was FHA, and I said, hey, see all this flaking paint? I go, it was a state sale. I go, if you really like this location, you like the house, that's going to get flagged. If you and your family are okay painting that, and I've jumped in and helped paint too, we're good to go. But if not, that's going to get flagged. You're going to be out your inspection money. You're going to be out your appraisal money. So do you want to move forward, put an offer? And he said, yes. And guess what? It got flagged. We knocked out the paint. They owned it. But if I'm not pointing those things out, and somebody's not experienced putting those things up to their clients, inspection on average is $500. Appraisal is what, $600-700. You know that. Sometimes that's all they got.
Right.
And now they just spent all that money, and now that they might have to wait another 3 months to save more money up. Yeah. So to me, I feel like that's part of my success too. Is just the knowledge of staying in the game, understanding what they're looking at, and educating them on what they're looking at.
Yeah. Well, to your point of you can't see what's under the floor and that kind of thing. I live in an older home and we had it remodeled. Even the remodelers don't know what's underneath those things.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Because when they pulled my floor up, it ended up costing me a lot more money because there were things that had to be done because there was carpet and we were putting hard floors down.
Yeah.
All of a sudden carpet hit a lot. Carpet hides a lot.
Oh yeah.
So it is one of those things that it's unfair completely to have a real estate agent judged off of that kind of thing.
Yeah. We're not inspectors,
Even
period.
an inspector, he isn't going to see that.
Yeah, no, he can't see that. He can't predict that.
No.
He can't predict a water heater's going to go out.
Yeah.
Like I tell my clients, say, hey, for $600 you can get a home warranty. We can close on this house, and the next day you could go there that same day and your AC's out. Right? We do our pre-walkthrough. It feels great.
Yeah.
We close. An hour later, the AC just went out.
Yeah.
All we can do is give them like the right advice, like, hey, and if they don't take it, at least you gave them the advice.
Yeah.
For
I can see the future.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee them the air conditioner is eventually going to go out.
Yes.
The water heater is eventually going to go out.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. Guarantee it.
Guarantee it.
Yeah.
Guarantee
I've
it.
owned a home for a long time.
Yeah.
And I owned rental properties too. I can tell you it all goes out.
Yeah.
So just expect it, right? Just hope it doesn't go out tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the big thing.
But the communication part of it, just give them that hey, this is what I recommend.
That's right.
If you want it, great. If you don't, just understand that we do the walkthrough and you come back, you could have a water heater leak, you could have this. I can't predict that stuff.
Yeah.
And you put that in perspective for clients, 9 out of 10 of them are going to appreciate it.
Yeah.
They're going to appreciate your advice. They're going to appreciate your being upfront. And if you don't do it, it might be just because your broker didn't tell you, hey, it's probably a good idea to do.
And if I did have my air conditioner go out, I'm guessing you have a guy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So in our industry, I'd say the hardest people to find would be a chimney person, and plumbers. They're probably the two hardest. But when it comes to like electrical, my buddy Jason Hilliard, TJ Burke, they both I've known since high school. Jason I've known since I was 13. We used to speed skate together. There's another talent of mine, right? I speed skated. I was second in the state one year.
Wow.
And he road bikes a lot. So he's really wanting me to get back into like doing the mountain biking. But Jason, hands down, he does a lot of the work himself. And on most electrical, from what I find, it's typically $500 to $1,500 to fix the average stuff, double taps. But AC, I've got 2 companies for AC. I got one guy that has his own LLC and insurance. He kind of freelances on the side. So he's a company, but he works for a bigger company. So you're getting that professional like GM mechanic working on your car, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But doing it for not the $130 an hour, but for $55 an hour, something like
Yeah.
that. But they also don't have the overhead as like a big company. So it's good to know those people and you can rely on those people. And I hate recommending a lot of people because if something goes wrong, man, that's your name.
Yeah.
And the first thing you hear is your guy.
Yeah.
No. He is not my guy. He's just who I recommended. And I said, you can use who you want, but I've had a lot of success for this guy. It doesn't happen a lot, but it happens occasionally. And nobody likes to hear bad news, right?
No, that's right.
Roofing companies. I got some really good go-to people that are ethical with roofing. Painter, my neighbor Dan, been my neighbor 20 years. We watched their kids. They watched our kids. Price-wise, it's a husband-wife team. Painting can be expensive, especially if you're going to sell a house. 9 times out of 10, they're less expensive, and the quality of what they do is just as good as anybody else. So it's good to have these people and not just have them, but count on them.
Yes.
I know if I give somebody one of those people, those individuals numbers, they're gonna represent me well.
Exactly.
That's the key. And if I don't have somebody, I'll tell them.
Yep.
I don't have anybody for that. I'm sorry. We can look at Google reviews and try and find somebody good for this, but I just don't have anybody, and we'll work our way through it.
Yep.
All right. This will be the last time I ask you, or at least on this show.
Yeah.
So, what's the best way somebody get in contact with you if they want to buy or sell their home, or they just have questions?
You can contact me at 317-371-0060. I've had that phone number ever since I pushed grocery carts at Myers at 15, Bell South. And you can also get me at DanielsRealestate.com or Sean Daniels on Facebook, Messenger. smoke signals, call, text. I'm here for you.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And please follow us for more Indy's Real Estate Gurus.
And reminder, if you have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, or refinance, let us know. We'll be more than happy to help you. Sean, thanks for having us on our show. Hopefully when somebody's sending up their smoke signals, they're not lighting their house on fire to do that. But before you light your house on fire, call him first.
Yeah.
But thank you for having you coming on.
No, I appreciate it, Ian. Definitely. And Rick, thank you for making that contact with me. It was 6 months out, I think. I was like, man, that's like, this guy's busy. 6 months out, and really, like, all the information you sent me about the show, and it was very professional, and I'm sure that's how you conduct yourself, and it definitely shows. So I appreciate both of you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, and it's our show, just in case you didn't. I mean, it sounds like Ian's giving you over the reins. He said, thank you for letting us join you on your show.
Oh, did I say that?
I think so.
Was it my show?
I don't know.
Yes. So welcome to my podcast. This is Sean Daniels with Daniels Real Estate.
Well, we got to cut this off fast.
We appreciate it. Yeah.
That escalated quickly, didn't it?
Stop record.
Branch NMLS number 33041. Rick Ripma's NMLS number 6645890. Ian Arnold's NMLS number is 1995469. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.